Live from the Big G's Pizza Studio on Clark Street, this is 5 Songs with Friends, Chicago's music discovery podcast. Phil and the Osophers is the musical moniker of Philip Radiotes. Hopefully I said that right. They have self-released albums ranging from personal Bob Dylan-inspired bedroom folk and blues to rhythmic African-influenced indie pop reminiscent of Talking Heads. Philosophical ideas and themes are the lyrical focus. I have Phil here with us today. Phil, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well.
Awesome, man. I'm super excited to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit about, obviously you have this strong interest in philosophy and, these very esoteric things. So how did you get kind of on this? How did this interest, cultivate inside of you?
Well, I listened to a lot of music when I was a kid, and I was mainly listening to hip hop and mainly, gravitating towards that kind of stuff. And then something shifted and I started, listening to my sister who was a little bit older, her CDs. And so I started listening to a different kind of music, and I came across Bob Dylan. And then from there, Leonard Cohen, Joni Mitchell, these very, lyrical songwriters. And, I discovered that there could be a lot more to a song. A song can really blow by people, if you're in a restaurant or shopping or wherever you hear music. That's a song. It's got a tempo, maybe you tap your foot or whatever. And that's great. I mean, the songs take on that form for particular reasons, for a lot of reasons, for fun and stuff. But I started realizing that some songs, particularly Dylan, could, re-added pop music or mainstream music that was in the mainstream at the time, had to draw deeper questions, to look for inside of oneself, and from that to draw forth lyrical material. And so that has been my focus, is sort of in that school, a student of that practice.
Awesome. So are you a traditional student of, or are you a student rather of traditional philosophy? If so, are there any, branches of philosophy that you kind of resonate the most with?
It broke up a little bit.
Sorry, I was just asking, are you a student of philosophy itself? And if so, are there any, philosophers that are kind of your favorites?
To be honest, I haven't read too much philosophy. I've read, Nietzsche. I remember, there's Heidegger. I really admire some of his writing, but I can't say that I'm a student of, Plato and Socrates, and I can kind of regale you of all of their notions and equations and how they put forth life. But what I kind of took from that title, the moniker of Phil and the Osophers, has kind of been, a gift and a curse, because it's so different than pretty much anything any other band name where I'm actually exploiting a word, which is kind of what the idea of looking deeper and deeper into these words, looking deeper and deeper into yourself, splitting the word. And because my name is Phil, I thought it was fun. I mean, I came up with Phil and the Osophers when I was 16. And, I haven't changed it because, it's kind of, the further I go, it's it's become a part of me, obviously. But I'm not really a trained philosopher or trained in philosophy, but I just kind of wanted to use that notion for the theme of the music.
Yeah, nicely done. I mean, it's a great name. I'm a huge fan of it. So can you tell me, in terms of your band, I'm assuming you kind of write most of the music, but do you have a backing band? What does that whole process look like?
Yeah. I mean, I never really had a band when I started out. I was kind of just writing a lot of songs, just kind of, throwing it, anything that stuck on the wall, I would kind of record in the beginning, and I would have my friends come in, just like whoever was really around to help me record. And I was like, oh, the Osophers could be pretty much anybody or everybody. And I'm, if I have a show at a coffee house and, this guy can play, then he's the band for today. And I think that happens a lot in like, more like jazzy or like bluegrassy kind of like these pickup bands. So that was kind of like idea. But when I moved to New York, I moved out here with my two best friends from high school, and we kind of just, we had no plans or nothing really, no real like ideas of what we were going to do out here. But we were the three of us all were very interested in writing. One of them writes majority of poetry, and the other one writes like poetry and short stories and fiction. And so we were kind of followed the Kerouacian on the road out here, and
nice.
little by little, I started like playing shows and hearing more music and kind of wanting to play with other people. And managing a band is never. It can be very, very hectic, and all these personalities and these schedules, and I don't really have the means to like pay people, or I don't want, I wouldn't want to have a relationship with musicians where I have to pay them because, obviously I would love to pay whoever I play with, but as it turns out, I wasn't really connecting with any other musicians around here, and so I taught my two friends, Gus and Kevin, how to play their instruments.
Nice.
Because, and that really kind of works well with this whole kind of ragtag idea that is the concept of Phil and the Osophers. So Kevin is still in the band, and he plays drums, and he's an excellent drummer, and we connect on so many mental levels that it's so easy to play with him. And Gus used to play bass, but now is, he kind of transitioned to more like doing some other writing stuff. So he's, not playing out live, but he's still a part of the family. And he talks about actually playing on percussion too. So we might get him back in the mix. And I have a dear friend of mine, Ben, playing bass as well.
Sweet. Good stuff, man. Well, you have a song you brought to the table today called Endeavour. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Do a little introduction for us, please.
Endeavour is kind of I guess, for lack of a better word, I would say it's somewhat like a Greek tragedy in song form. The main character is like a banished mythological figure who used to be among the stars, used to be with the other gods of the sky, but is banished and now can only like look up and see his lost love up there and the sky unfolding before him.
Awesome. Well, let's jump into it. This is a song called Endeavour by Phil and the Osophers.
It's a shame to see you now.
that was Endeavour by Phil and the Osophers. Good stuff, man. What was kind of the inspiration behind that one? Because I know you said it's like this epic journey. Like, is there anything, in particular that inspired you to write this?
It definitely just matured when I first started out. Like the words that kind of came from the melody were not really much to write home about, and so I just kind of stuck with them. Finesse them. Try to coax out other ideas from that. And once I there was a few things that kind of helped me pivot the story to where it needed to become. And there's a line that we were once set with stars, and I think it flowed well, or like the consonant. I get those S's, and I kind of sculpted that word and sculpted that line. And once I sculpted that line, I could kind of play with other parts of the verses to create some sort of unifying theme around it, and then use the chorus to kind of tie it together. That this is kind of my last hope is already up, and here I am. Like it's that's the central figure's kind of what he opines in the chorus.
Awesome. Well, so what can people kind of expect from you in the near future? Are you working on any releases? Do you have any dates coming up that people can check out?
Yeah. I have this record finished, and we're going to kind of just be putting out a song at a time in the near future. And then the record will come out somewhere in the fall or early fall, late summer. And then, after that, I'll continue to play. I'm already kind of like trying to put the pieces together for new material. And I'm playing a bunch of shows in New York City coming up. And so April 17th and April 30th, I'll be playing. And I hope to get out to other areas as soon as possible.
Fantastic. So out there in New York, are there any friends there or maybe other acts that you've, gigged with in the past that you think are under the radar and people should hear about? If you want to give them a shout out now, would be a good time to do that.
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I've played a few shows with this band Project DM, like Seize the Carpe Diem, Project DM. And I really like their stuff. It's like kind of synth poppy, but also very well thought out music. So I would give them a shout out.
Nice.
For sure.
Good stuff. Well, thanks so much, Phil. Where can people find you to stay in touch with new music releases or social media, things like that?
Well, I'm at philandtheosophers.com. So that's Phil, like my name, and then and then the rest of philosophers.com. And from there, I'm on all the other social things, and Spotify and Apple Music.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much, Phil. I appreciate it. I'm excited to hear these new releases as they come out, and I wish you the best of luck as you release the album and look to tour and things like that in the near future.
Thank you. It was nice to chat with you.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.